Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Ghost Prime, and this is the Loyal Subjects Condor from the series Mask. Yes, I like Transformers. I also love Mask, and it converts, so, it fits the bill. Now, when the Loyal Subjects announced these a while back, I was super excited because I've always been a fan of Mask as well. I have a little Mask collection. I do have an original Condor, which I'm doing verses of in this video. I'm also going to try to keep it relatively quick. This isn't really a reissue. The vehicle is more of like a reissue would be, but the figure is entirely different. It's a completely new tooling, not even the same as the original, but it's about the same size. So we're going to open this up, check it out. So without any further ado, let's get to the review. So let's take a look at the packaging, and this packaging is really cool. I love how it's like the retro 80s style. It looks just like it, complete sealed box, no window or anything. It's the Loyal Subjects, and I guess it's Hasbro. It's a licensed by Hasbro. There's a Kenner logo there. Same thing. Transform. Yeah, this thing's pretty cool. It's exactly what I remember from the 80s. It might be a bit different. Maybe I could find a box to put the picture right there so you can see the differences between the two. So yeah, it's pretty close. This here, he does come with both masks. They had also, I will be doing a comparison, but yeah, it's a neat box. The box is just a box, so let's get it open. All right, here's how it comes packaged. And it does have stickers. I was wondering about the stickers. Let's see what's in this little baggie first. Here are the stickers up close, and it's a paper sticker. It does feel like the original. Like the originals were not glossy stickers, they're more like a paper sticker. They didn't have any of that, like, but not like Transformers where they're foil and those types of things. And very 80s looking instructions. I, again, don't have my old instructions for the one I have, but I can imagine they look very similar to this. And in the 80s, I believe these had just cardboard in them. So let's look at the figure up close. Looks like he comes with his mask on. Well, one of his masks with the blast effects there. I think you can take that off. Maybe not. Maybe that one stays like that. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think you can take that off. Maybe you can. I'll have to pull on that later. But Brad Turner, take off the helmet. There's his head. Comes with focus. Decent head sculpt. Of course, I don't know who wears their glasses like that. On one side, looks like maybe two. Oh, here's the Condor. You get smoke effects on the tire there. And this feels an awful lot like the original. Kind of the same plastic sort of feel to it as the original. And he has his regular short mask right there. And one other rubbery blast effect part there. And here's everything he comes with. So let's check out Brad Turner real quick here. You already saw his head there. Got the red paint, yellow. Definitely different than the original figure. He has, looks like I don't know if that's a ball joint on the hip. So he can move his hip. No waist. He has a knee, which is similar to the original. Little hole in the heel there, also similar. Sit. His arms out. He has no elbows. No wrists. His head could turn. Looks like it's probably a mushroom pig. I think they could have added a little bit more articulation into this guy, seeing on how some of the Transformers, smaller figures, have complete articulation with the shoulder or the elbows and everything else. It's okay, though. I mean, I have no problems with it. He's like in a constant A stance as well. We already saw the one mask he came with. There's him with the other mask on. And we can just sit him in his helicopter. Similar to that. He doesn't like to go in there super well. Squeeze those legs in. Let's see. Got him in there. A little crooked though. He's much harder to sit in there than I think he should be. But there he is, and rolls relatively well. He's got some squeaky to him. But I like the fact that they gave him that to kind of burn out on. I think that's neat. So yeah, let me get the stickers on, and then we'll do comparisons.
8 hours later.
All right, now here's the time we've been waiting for, which is the versus. Which is the vintage and the reissue, I guess you would call it. It's kind of a whole new thing, but let's get into it. So first off, let's check out accessories. The vintage one pretty much just comes with the bike, stickers, and Brad Turner, where we saw the accessories at. The new one comes with, which is all these things. So cool. That one takes it obviously on that. But I think quality is really what we're talking about here. And so I've put this guy a little bit through it by putting him in and out of the vehicle since I've filmed the previous parts of this video. And his leg, I mean, it's not falling, right? But it has become quite loose on this one side. I think that's because to get him into the vehicle, you have to go like this, as his legs have a split. You actually have to squeeze them to fit him in there. And I think that causes some stress on that joint, making it relatively loose. But how does it compare to the vintage one? You see my vintage one doesn't have the best paint on it, but it's not bad actually for its age. One thing I do like, I really appreciate the attention to detail on the new one. A lot of the folds are in a lot of the same places. There's a lot actually that are similar between the two figures. Proportion wise, it's hard to say. They're both relatively the same height. Let's see if I get them standing next to each other. They're relatively the same height, with the new one being a little taller, which does play into the vehicle a little bit. So let's just take off the helmet and the mask and go ahead and check out their face sculpts. They look like very different people. I mean, this is an 80s face sculpt. I've always really liked the face sculpts on Mask. I'm not really sure. Maybe it looks a lot like the cartoon, I guess. So that's good. That's what they're kind of going for. I don't know, something about the '80s one. Maybe it's just nostalgia in me. It just feels better. I know he kind of has a big squat neck, but I don't know. I like it. I like the '80s one. I like how easy it is to move. I really do feel, like I said earlier, that if this had these and this articulation here, that it should have elbows. Just a little extra because they already went that step to do it, and that's kind of the way I feel about it. The masks, here's where things like really also are really different. And this one definitely is, like that reminiscence of that cartoon version where this is really long, and where this, I dropped it. This just looks different. I mean, they have completely different detailing on them. They didn't color the black stripe at the top. I can't remember if that's like that in the cartoon or not, but yeah, so you get that. And I like them both. So interestingly enough, just for funsies, there's the original mask on the new Brad Turner. And actually, they look good. It really does look good. It's a little loose, but it's not going to fall off or anything. It's hard to get the new mask because of the difference in size. I don't want to scratch the paint, but it's real tight. I could get it on. That's the new mask on the old Brad Turner. It is, like, again, here, real tight. I don't want to scratch the paint because actually the paint on the head's pretty good. But that's how those guys compare. And so let's get into the Condor itself. So we have the vintage and the modern. Did you see the shades of green is darker on the vintage? Now, I don't know if there's some type of yellowing going on with the line or what there is, or that's how it was. I do remember it being this color as a kid. I could be wrong because it's just hard to say. One notable feature is what I did mention earlier, also that this has chrome on it, the vacuum metal. Also, the wheels roll pretty well, and they are pinned. These wheels are pinned, but the back one rolls pretty well. That one, not so much. But Beyond some paint, you got some silver paint, and you got the mirrors painted. I did apply the stickers, and that's how those stickers compare. This one is a little big. This one is cut better on the vintage, but it's not too bad. This one's gonna see how these compare there. They're very similar. I mean, it's a reissue. I think I would consider it more of a reissue than anything else. It is a new tooling, but at least I'm assuming it's a new tooling. Even the undersides are incredibly similar, but you can see here there's a little cutout for, I guess, the feet, and there's some more detail right there on the side that the vintage one does not have. But the conversion on the new one, which we saw, you move this up. Now this, it feels clicky. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, there's a spring in there, right? But like, it holds well. I'm not sure if that's if that's intentional or there's something wrong with it. But that goes up just like that. It does click into place really nice. Now, one point I have to make is these. They do stay up, but they're real limp.
That happened to me a lot.
I don't mind them being pointed down a little bit like that. So you move this, it's real loose, but it does snap into place well, and you have the kickstand. And it stands up like that. So this, the vintage one, this is just much more satisfying. Well, it doesn't click, it sort of like snaps, like because of the spring, it just sort of like stays in place really well. It doesn't need to snap, it doesn't need to do that. And the wings are made of a more robust plastic, so I go like that, and just sort of like
Swing!
this, nice and tight all the way around. Like there's like, I mean, really, really nice and tight. And then the kickstand. So there they are in helicopter mode together. I'm just noticing that looking at them. This one is a little pointed up a little bit more than the vintage. And the tail doesn't want to stay all the way straight like this one does. My sticker's a little knackered right there. But the stickers do look good. I mean, it's a pretty good match for the green. They painted this part black, so if you don't want to attach the stickers, there's still something there, where this just had a tooling there to make it where here's where you put the sticker. Again, though, they matched it really well. I kind of like how it fits. This one fits nice. It has a little outline around it. I'm not sure if that was intentional, because I think it's supposed to be meant to match the green, so it just doesn't look like there's anything there besides that painted there. But so I guess personal preference on that one. But putting in Brad Turner in to the vintage, he's going to put him in there with his legs, fits in there really well. Move that up, the seat goes down, so it clears it, and that's it, right? A little bit more difficult to get this guy in here. Let's move this back down, and like that. Like I said, squeeze the legs, then you can fit him in there. If you don't squeeze the legs, it becomes difficult, and I noticed him being really stiff at first made it really, really difficult. So you have to get him really down in there. See, there's his feet. But that's how they compare it. He's leading really far back, which we have this, right? And this is something I think is cool. And honestly, it does fit around the other wheel too, because they're about the same. But I think it was a missed opportunity to put some hooks on here to make it, kind of still make it look like smoke. And because you still kind of do it and get them like that. And that would have been a cool display. To have them sit like that would have been pretty rad. And you can, but it's not very sturdy. It falls off really easy. If they made that a little bit better on that, but man, they could have totally they could have really done it. Like, really cool little display. I mean, you could get it, and if you don't touch it and it doesn't fall, if you put the skis there, you can kind of get it. But so I think that I'm going to give it a point to this one on that one, because it's neat, something you could do. This does have the blast effect, so again, accessories take it. I like the blast effect there. It can kind of fit on the vintage, but overall, so I bought this for $30. I looked at them recently. And this one here is going for a little bit more than that. I'm sure you can still find it if you want to, stick it out, maybe at a show or something. You could probably find it at $30, $35 range, which is what this is new. You do get extra accessories. You don't get the original driver. I still think that's a shame. I like the new ones, but I like what they're trying to do. I just hope that they iron out some of the kinks because overall the plastic feels relatively the same as the original. It doesn't feel too bad. It looks good. This plastic feels waxy where this is solid and this is held up for years, longer than that. I guess it's held up for a long time. God, longer, 30 years.
You're so old.
So there are those things that they need to iron out. There's definitely kinks. But I think it's a good update and it's a really cool little figure, albeit I think a little expensive for what it is. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments, and would you rather have a vintage or are you going with these new loyal subjects? And I'll see you in the next review.